But when
Your Honor,
you,
permit me to rise on a point of clarification.
there's no such point.
A point of order.
Mr.
A
Speaker,
point
there's
of
no
order
such
to
point.
clarify. I beg your pardon. Don't
What is
get
the point of
aside.
order?
And to say that I say to the House that I support the principle, but I could not support the legislation as an incremental exercise that I can support it only as part of larger constitutional reform. I think I'm entitled to clarify that, Your Honor, and I'm obliged to you.
Speaker, you know, I hate to school the honourable member, but he did not spend enough time in this chamber when he was on this side. If he would have spent enough time on this chamber, he would know, firstly, that there is no point of clarification. I don't know where you get that absurd notion from. You had the opportunity to speak, and you spoke for over an hour. If you spoke for over an hour and still need to come back now and clarify things, well, I don't know what to say. Maybe you should not have started speaking at all and hoped that somewhere along the way you would hit the point. Secondly, you can't get another bite at the cherry, sir. You bite it, it didn't taste good, you spit it out, done with that. You can't come now and try to rejig what you said. The honourable member said, I support the bill. He supported it. I support it. If Hansard looks at the record of his comments, Hansard will see that he supports the amendment to the schedule. He supports an elected speaker.
Point of order. The Honourable Attorney General is misleading the House. And I said more than once that in principle, I support any amendment that makes the speaker, I beg your pardon, independent and impartial. But unless it comes within the larger context of constitutional reform, I cannot support it brought by itself. Please don't cause me to say that a third time. The honourable member is misleading the House and himself.
Well,
continue.
Mr. Speaker, Mr. Deputy Speaker, the honourable member is now saying that he does not support the amendments. Okay, well, what's new? What is new? What is new? Mr. Speaker, I don't suppose that any matter relating to the Constitution and any amendments thereto should be spoken of as being simple. I don't suppose we should speak of them as though in any way they're run-of-the-mill. Our Constitution is our governing document. The Constitution, Mr. Speaker, represents the thread that holds the society together and establishes the principles on which we agree we are to be bound and guided. But no Constitution, Mr. Speaker, is fixed in stone. They were never intended to be. In the life of the Barbadian Constitution, it has been amended on many occasions by the last administration, by this administration, and by administrations in the past. In fact, one of the most far-reaching amendments to the Constitution came, I think it was in 1970, the amendment 1972 or thereabouts, 74, when the then Prime Minister sought to amend the Constitution to allow 74, the appointment of judges by his imprimatur alone. So constitutions are living documents that must always be capable of being revisited by a government on behalf of the people. And the Honourable Prime Minister has explained to this chamber what caused us to be here. I'm surprised that the Honourable Member didn't take the opportunity to talk so much about the election, because it is really the amendment to the first schedule, to the third schedule, which allows us to set the parameters or the average in terms of the size that a constituency in Barbados would have. It sets the range. And the Prime Minister explained quite clearly that somewhere along the line, an incorrect figure was used, It was recognized by the Electoral and Boundaries Commission, on which the opposition has 2 members. And the commission has asked that we revisit it and make it and change it. That's why we're here. But we also decided to take the opportunity to address 2 matters. And Mr. Speaker, let me first deal with the matter not of the election of the Speaker, but let me deal with the matter of the right of audience. The right of audience, sir. On many occasions since this government came to, since we came to government, we have had to bring pieces of legislation that have been weighty. In some instances, they have been troublesome. But in every instance, Mr. Speaker, we have made ourselves available to the members in the other place to discuss with them, firstly, the policy position, and secondly, the legislative position. We have engaged in a consultative mechanism so that the members in the other place will have every opportunity to understand where we're coming from and what we're doing. It happened, Mr. Deputy Speaker, as recently as when we did the Interception of Communication Bill. As Attorney General, I asked the leader of government business in the Senate to invite the opposition senators and to invite the independent senators to sit and meet with me so that we could explain to them what the legislation did not do, what was intended, and in many respects, sir, to look at the national security parameters that inform the legislation. That was already done this year. Mr. Speaker, too many times we operate as if we have to reinvent the wheel. All across the Caribbean, attorneys general have the right, and in fact are expected to, attend the other place to be able to explain what legislation has been put before them and to explain any issues that might arise therefrom. It is true, sir, that in many of those jurisdictions, the Attorney General is not elected. The Attorney General is appointed, so Cayman Islands, Turks and Caicos, St. Lucia and others. Currently in Trinidad, the Attorney General is from the Senate, but has a duty to appear in the House to explain the legislation that he has certified. This process, sir, however, is only available to the Attorney General. And we believe that if the Minister of Industry or if a Minister of Education is piloting an education bill, he ought to be able to stand in the Senate in the other place and explain to that chamber what exactly the legislation is about. So the 2 points I want to make are these. Firstly, the approach of having the opportunity of audience in the other place is not novel. It currently exists across many of our parliaments. We see great value in it. So it is not novel. So we're not reinventing the wheel. The second point is that we see great value in it and we feel that it improves the legislative framework in Barbados so that all parliamentarians have the opportunity to understand what is in the thinking of the chamber that they're not in, and the minister. And thirdly, we believe it is so important an opportunity that we considered that it should not be limited to the Attorney General alone. Every minister ought to have the opportunity to stand in the other place and speak to it. We currently have several ministers in the upper chamber. We have a Minister of Health in the upper chamber. We have a Minister of Energy and Business in the other chamber. And that has changed. We used to have a Minister of Education in that chamber. So it is important wherever the minister may be situated, whichever house he is from or she is from, that they make themselves available to the other place so as to give a perspective, to that chamber and inform the legislation. That, sir, is a salutary measure. I certainly support it. I didn't get the impression that the leader of the opposition did not support it, but he's now saying that he didn't. The other matter is that of the election of the Speaker. I heard the Honourable Leader of the Opposition say that it was a dreadful thing that his Speaker in Barbados could not represent his constituents in Parliament. I heard him say that it was a good thing that a Speaker should be elected from outside of Parliament. I guess I misunderstood how you could agree to those two fundamentals, but at the same time not agree to what we're doing. But he's capable of that kind of intellectual contortion. I leave that to him. Whatever the honourable member agrees to or not, the fact of the matter is that an individual goes and offers himself in our small parliament, sir. We only have 30 MPs. In our small parliament, an individual will go and offer himself to represent his constituents. Where? Not in the Lions Club or the Kiwanis Club, not in the army, in any place other than Parliament, sir. He says, I want to be your parliamentary representative. That is what it is. He is elected by those people to serve their interests in this House. It therefore is inconsistent with the mandate given to an individual by the people that he should come to this chamber and be told, we want you to be the Speaker, and that which the people elected you to do, we are absolving you of that duty. Now, we say it is a democracy, and in a democracy, the will of the people must prevail. And the people will send somebody here to represent their interests, but somehow a majority of the 30 of us will say, never mind that. We absolve you of that responsibility. You don't have to do it no more. You get to sit here and preside, and not a peep out of you will be heard during your tenure on behalf of the people of your constituency. Now, Mr. Speaker, I think England must have a couple of hundred, I don't know the number, but the English Parliament is big. 600 plus people. If in England you take out one of 600 and you say to him or her, you be the Speaker, nobody will trouble you. You could get away with that. Because that is 1 out of 600. But Mr. Speaker, my constituents who voted for me in St. Joseph, in our small parliament of 30, I don't know how we could look them in the eye and say, well, you know, I can be doing something else other than representing you. Not in our small parliament, not in our small country, sir, because we will be denying the individuals who voted for one of us of the representation that they voted they should receive. I don't see how the honourable member could oppose that, but he says he doesn't agree. Mr. Speaker, in England, you have the convention of, as the Prime Minister mentioned, not offering a candidate from any party to oppose the Speaker. And that is in recognition of the fact that his hands, the ability for him to represent his constituents, his hands are tied. So fairness has said to them, well, don't let me run anybody against him, because if you don't say anything in Parliament, nobody will want to vote for you anyway. So let's give him a bly, as we say. Not so in our country. Successive speakers have had to go back out in the hustings and try to convince individuals that somehow or another they have served their interests. Now, Mr. Speaker, what we are saying, what we are contending is that is a flaw in our system, and as noble a convention and a tradition as it is, we have an opportunity to change it. Now, Mr. Speaker, the honourable member can speculate about this and speculate about that and speculate about when the election getting called and so on and so on and so on. That is entirely up to him. It is entirely up to the Prime Minister as to when that date will be. But in the meantime, Mr. Deputy Speaker, we are here to carry out the business of the people, and we are here to make reforms. The Leader of the Opposition spoke so pejoratively of the case for making a constitutional amendment that I really wonder where his head is. Every day, we come here and we debate legislation. Sometimes we amend legislation itself. Other times we amend the social structures that exist by way of legislation. I don't know about him, but nobody on this side feels that we are vultures preying on Karen. That is where his mind is. That is where his mind is. But we, sir, are on a nobler quest. And if your member wants to stay in the gutter, then so be it. But every time we come to this chamber and debate legislation, we are not picking at anything like vultures. We are looking to make changes to improve the circumstances of our people. That's the mission that I am on. That's the mission that we're on. And this, Mr. Deputy Speaker, is no different. It's no different. We have the time-honored tradition of being able to look to see what other countries have done and draw from those experiences and adapt our model so that we benefit from decades of experience in other parliaments. Every day somebody from another country will call my office, sir, and they will say, AG, I hear you've passed a law. Can you let me see it so that I can consider it for my own country? Happens all the time. We draw from them, they draw from us. And in this instance, Mr. Deputy Speaker, we have chosen to draw from the depths of the experience of other countries in the region to bring a piece of legislation to allow for reforms of Parliament. Mr. Speaker, it is not often that we reform this chamber. Not often that we reform this chamber. We sit in it almost every Tuesday, some for the whole day, others only come in the morning and speak and disappear. One other, sorry, I made others plural. No, one other comes and he speaks, he dines and he disappears.
He refers to himself in the plural, but he's only one.
He dines and he disappears. You know, they say, hail fellow well met, hail fellow well fed. And that suits him. That is his choice. I believe that that's why he was seen in St. John playing road tennis the other day to burn off a few of the extra calories that he might be taking in. But, sir, we come to this place and we look to change everything. We reform all the structures, but we don't ever reform ourselves. It is as though that which we are and have been has become so ossified, so calcified, so crystal hard that there's a reluctance to say, you know what, we could find a better way. The honourable member is concerned about the timing. The timing is now. The timing is today. The timing is today. And we have never been afraid to stand up and do in a timely manner that which we are able to do. Mr. Speaker, I support this bill. I also support the companion legislation. And it is worthy of an explanation to the people of Barbados why we have a companion statute. And it is quite simple. So long as we agree that the Speaker of the House of Assembly will take a seat in the chamber as an elected Speaker, then we have to make provision. We have to make provision for him or her to be able to receive, first of all, and perhaps most importantly, the privileges and immunities that all of us are guaranteed by statute. Those are long-standing privileges and immunities. They are not things that we call upon on a daily basis, but they hover in the background, protecting us in our sworn duty. And to the extent that a Speaker will now join this hallowed place, elected by the membership of this place, then that Speaker has to have the benefit of the privileges and immunities that the rest of us have. It is inconceivable, sir, that a Speaker coming to preside over this chamber would not benefit from the privileges and immunities that we have. But then equally, sir, there's the simple matter of the opportunity to be paid for your duty, to be paid for your service, to be able to receive your due for presiding. And therefore, we've had to make changes to other legislation so as to be able to secure those rights and privileges to the individual who should occupy this office. Mr. Speaker, I don't know that there's much more that needs to be said. This bill requires a constitutional majority. I'm sorry that it appears as though the Honourable Member for Christchurch South will not be a part of that majority, but I don't know that there's anything that we pass that he votes for anyway. I don't know that he votes for anything that we support. So, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Deputy Speaker, I support this bill. It is timely. I support the amendment to the schedule. I support the amendment to the companion legislation. It takes us where we needs to be. The Honourable Member can describe it in as pejorative terms as he like. We do not stand with him, because if there's one vulture in this chamber, the Honourable Member only needs to hold up a mirror and identify who he sees. I am obliged to you.
Honourable Prime Minister.
Thank you. Mr. Deputy Speaker, I smile because I listened carefully to the opposition leader, and I want to thank him for his partial support, because his partial support. I understand his position, and I don't expect the unexpected, but I really thank him for his partial support. Look, sir, I spoke at the beginning and made it very clear why this amendment is here today. And I said that it is really being triggered by the electoral and boundaries change in the schedule that has to be done. And the government just took the opportunity then, in having to amend the Constitution at that point, to introduce these two parts, which we believe to be palatable and which were the subject of discussions. I'm very clear that it is unfair for a person to be a speaker in this House and to have a constituency and cannot properly speak and represent that constituency. I'm also equally clear, and the Leader of the Opposition said, and when he said, let us be real, I welcome that opportunity. Because whoever is the government and has the commanding number of votes will invariably get to choose the speaker that they want because they have the votes that can carry. Now, let us also be real. In those circumstances, while the person will not be an electoral person, somebody who was elected, invariably in a small society, people have attachments. And there's likely to be a person with whom the government feels comfortable, but that does not remove from them the obligation of impartiality once sitting in that chair. And he referred to the President of the Senate. And may I say that the fundamental distinction is that the President of the Senate does not have a constituency. And that is what is driving this. Do we take the UK precedent and don't run somebody against the Speaker? Or do we do like others and appoint someone from outside? In the case of the presidency of the Senate, that person is appointed from outside. I joined the Senate as a young person in 1991. And I know what it is to have persons in there preside. I had two presidents of the Senate, the Right Excellent Sir Frank Walcott, and then thereafter Sir Marcus Jordan. Both were clearly supporters and members of the Democratic Labour Party, but both acquitted themselves professionally and protected the rights of independent senators and opposition senators. I believe that the current president of the Senate and the previous president of the Senate, both to my certain knowledge in watching the debates since coming to this office as Prime Minister, because I watch the Senate as much as I watch here, because I need to see how the government is performing in the other place on occasion. And in both instances, I've seen both of those presidents also protect the rights of independent senators and opposition senators. It is true that I tried to protect the rights of the opposition too by offering them opposition senators on both occasions in 2018 and 2022, and I was scoffed at. And I still believe that the right thing should be done, even if there is no elected member from the House of Assembly, that the opposition should still have a right of place in the Senate. It is to my regret that it has not happened, and I look forward when we do the full Constitution to see whether we can find agreement for a mechanism that will guarantee that appointment to the opposition, even if they do not get any seats, so long as they get a basic minimum percentage of the popular vote. And I think that that threshold for me is 25%. They should have the right to have senators in there too. But that is not for this debate today. Similarly, the Leader of the Opposition spoke to the cast and vote, and I believe AG, the Honourable AG, he dealt with it? The Honourable AG didn't deal with it, but I say to you that in every boardroom and in most parliaments, persons will have a cast and vote in order to break a tie. And it is a function of governance in order to be able to execute. It doesn't happen often, but it does happen. I remind the Leader of the Opposition of what transpired in Trinidad when they did have the 1818, I think it was 2001 or 2002, somewhere around that time. So that in order for things, for you not to have gridlock, you know, one of the reasons why I do not support a presidential system a la the United States of America is because of the gridlock. And a country the size of Barbados cannot withstand that type of gridlock if the parliament ceases to be effective in facilitating the governance of the country and in particular the work of the executive. I agree with him entirely on the supremacy of the Constitution, but I also remind him that at an academic level, there are those who argue that because Parliament has the right to amend the Constitution, you still effectively have parliamentary supremacy as opposed to just simply a constitutional democracy. In our case, we are equally recognizing that there are aspects, and I tell the story I'm sure I've said it in here before, but I'll say it for what it is worth. When I was a young member of Parliament, I was the youngest, so I sat at the end of the front bench because of the traditions of seating in the House. And Sir Harold St. John, of blessed memory, was a former Prime Minister, was not in the cabinet, and we accorded him the privilege of being able to sit on the front bench, but he sat next to then the youngest member, which would have been myself. And Sir Harold told me as a young girl that in his usual inimitable style, Motley, I want you to look around in here, because a time will come when a lot of the things that you take as conventions will have to be codified, because the influences on people are going to be myriad. This is no longer a Barbados where you have the same set of influences and the people who you are raising are likely to have the same types of values. I have lived to see those words come through. In the same way that he told me something else, which I will share on another occasion, as to how political life evolves, particularly in small states. But I have seen that. And the convention that the Leader of the Opposition and I spoke to with the British Parliament is not written anywhere, but it is adhered to by all, because conventions in their parliament are almost sacred. But we don't have that culture. We have a culture of codification and the passage of legislation. So, Mr. Deputy Speaker, as I said, this is not a set of complex matters. They are found in the Constitution, and therefore we treat them with the seriousness with which it merits, but they are simple once we identify each of the three matters and the purpose for which we are doing it and what will be achieved by the passage of it. So with those few words, sir, I beg to move that this bill be read a second time.
The question is that this bill be moved, be read a second time. All those in favor, please say aye. All those against, please say no. I think the ayes have it.
Leave the chair.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, I beg that Your Honor do now leave the chair and this House resolve itself into committee.
The question is that the Speaker do not leave the chair and this House resolve itself into committee. All those in favor, please say aye. All those against, please say no. I think the ayes have it.
This Honourable House is now in committee.
Clause 1.
Beg to second that.
The question is that Clause 1 stand part. All honourable members in favour, say aye. Honourable members against, say no. He thinks the ayes have it.
Clause 2.
Part.
The question is that Clause 2 stand part. All honourable members in favour, say aye. Honourable members against, say no. He thinks the ayes have it.
Clause 3.
Beg to move that Clause 3 stand part.
Beg to second that.
The question is that Clause 3 stand part. All honourable members in favour, say aye. Honourable members against, say no. He thinks the ayes have it.
Clause 4.
I beg to move that Clause 4 stand part.
Beg to second that.
The question is that Clause 4 stand part. All honourable members in favour, say aye.
Honourable members against, say no. Methinks the ayes have it.
Beg that Your Honor do now report the passage of one bill in committee without amendment.
The question is that you do now report to His Honour the Deputy Speaker the passing of one bill in committee. All honourable members in favour, say aye. Honourable members against, say no. Methinks the ayes have it.
Thank you.
The chairman of committees report the passing of one bill in committee.
Beg, Mr. Deputy Speaker, that this bill be now read a third time.
Beg second it.
The question is that this bill be now read a third time. All those in favor, please say aye. All those against, please say no. I think the ayes have it.
Beg that this bill do now pass and be titled the Constitution Amendment Act 2025.
Yeah, Mr. Deputy Speaker, this bill is being passed in accordance with Section 49 of the Constitution, which requires the vote of the House. Just make sure that was in. Good, we have 3 members who are online, so when they get to their names, they would answer online.
Okay.
Not like this. Miss Motley?
Aye.
Miss Bradshaw?
Aye.
Mr. Marshall?
Aye.
Mr. Simmons?
Aye.
Dr. Duguid, who's online?
Aye.
Mr. Abrams?
Aye.
Mr. Weir?
Aye.
Mr. Ford?
Aye.
Mr. Griffith?
Aye.
Mr. Humphrey?
Aye.
Mr. Jordan, who's online?
Aye. Aye.
Mr. Humphrey?
Aye.
Mr. Goodenajo?
Aye.
Miss McConney?
Aye.
Mr. Gibbs?
Aye.
Mr. Lane?
Aye.
Mr. Sutherland?
Aye.
Miss Ford?
Aye.
Mr. Phillips?
Aye.
Mr. Thorne?
No.
Mr. Blackman?
Aye.
Mr. Ishmael?
Aye.
Mr. Prescott? Dr. Springer? Who's online?
Aye.
Mr. Prescott? Ms. Cattle?
Yes.
Dr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, the results of the division, 23 honorable members voted in favor of the bill. There was 1 vote against, and therefore the vote satisfied that threshold of 2/3 majority under the Constitution. Bill passed.
Yeah. This bill is now cited and passed under the Constitution of Section 49.
Order number 10, sir. In the name of the Honourable Prime Minister, to move the second reading of the Parliament Miscellaneous Provisions Bill 2025.
Thank you very much, Mr. Deputy Speaker. This was a cognate debate, as I indicated when we started, and the House so endorsed by the motion that was agreed to by the House, and therefore this bill, which simply seeks to provide the privileges and immunities to the Speaker, given the passage of the constitutional amendment, is here now, and I do ask that this bill now be read a second time.
The question is that this bill be now read a second time. All those in favor, please say aye. All those against, please say no. I think the ayes have it.
I beg that Your Honor do now leave the chair and this House resolve itself into committee. Thank you.
The question is that the Deputy Speaker do not leave the chair and this House resolve itself into committee. All those in favor, please say aye. All those against, please say no. I think the ayes have it.
This Honourable House is now in committee.
Clause 1.
Beg to move that Clause 1 stand part, sir.
The question is that Clause 1 stand part. All honourable members in favour, say aye. Honourable members against, say no. Methinks the ayes have it.
Clause 2.
Beg to move that Clause 2 stand part, sir.
The question is that Clause 2 stand part. All honourable members in favour, say aye. Honourable members against, say no. Methinks the ayes have it.
I beg that Your Honor do now report progress of one bill in committee, passing without amendment.
Ready to second it?
The question is that I do now report to His Honour the Speaker, the Deputy Speaker, the passing of one bill in committee. All honourable members in favour, please say aye. Honourable members against, say no. Methinks the ayes have it.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, I beg that this House recommit itself into committee, please.
The question is that this House recommit itself into committee. All those in favor, please say aye. All those against, please say no. I think the ayes have it.
This Honourable House is now in committee.
Mr. Chairman, there was a schedule to the bill that we missed. That's the reason for the recommittal. Schedule.
Mr. Chairman, I beg that the schedule be the schedule to the bill.
Ready to second it?
The question is that the schedule be the schedule to the bill. All honourable members in favour, say aye. Honourable members against, say no. Methinks the ayes have it.
I beg that Your Honor do now report the progress of the passing of one bill in committee without amendment and the schedule thereto.
The question is that I do not report to His Honour the Deputy Speaker the passing of one bill in committee. All honourable members without amendments. All honourable members in favour, say aye. Honourable members against, say no. Methinks the ayes have it.
The chairman of committees reported.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, I beg to move that this bill be now read a third time.
The question is that this bill be now read a third time. All those honorable members in favor, please say aye. All those against, please say no. I think the ayes have it.
I know. I'm looking for the bill. I beg to move, Mr. Speaker, that this bill do now pass and be cited as the Parliamentary Miscellaneous Provisions Act 2025. Thank you.
The question is that this bill be do not pass and cited as the Parliamentary Provisions Act 2025. All those in favor, please say aye. All those against, please say no. I think the ayes have it. This bill do not pass.
You say you prefer to go straight, right?
You won't go to the ninth. You won't go to the ninth. But then you will find something else. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, Deputy Speaker. I beg to move the adjournment of the House until next Tuesday, the 2nd of December at 10 a.m. As I speak on the adjournment, I just want to wish everyone a happy independence as we get ready to celebrate another year of independence. I wish all honorable colleagues a happy independence and indeed all of Barbados. Also, as we look forward to the installation of a new president, I also would want, on behalf of all members here, to bid farewell to our existing president, Dame Sandra Mason, who has served us well over the course of the past few years. So with that, Mr. Speaker, Deputy Speaker, I would ask for the adjournment to be until next week, the 2nd of December at 10 a.m.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, speaking on the adjournment, it would be remiss of me if I did not reflect the gratitude of this government for the service of Her Excellency Dame Sandra Prunella Mason, the head of state of Barbados. In 2021, November, we took a journey to become a republic, a parliamentary republic. And in fact, we are still the youngest republic in the world. And on that journey, a determination was made that our head of state should be a Barbadian. For some, it seemed trite. For us, it was fundamental. And I dare say that those who would have known the current president growing up in St. Philip would have appreciated the circumstances under which she grew up and under which she served, would recognize that it was important for us symbolically and in real terms to be able to send the message to all Barbadians that by your living, you can do credit to your nation wherever you go, as our pledge calls upon us to do. I have had the opportunity to pay tribute to her in remarks in her farewell reception, but I think it is only right and fit and proper that the records of this Parliament should reflect the gratitude of this government for the service which she has rendered to Barbados. In great and small things, She has carried herself with decorum, and she has also created in the minds of Barbadians that sense of empathy that is best associated with that office. And I refer not only to her engagement with centenarians, but across the board with young people, with the cadets, with the armed forces that we have, and indeed for other non-governmental activities such as the Royal Commonwealth Society and other entities with which she has chosen to associate her office. She has had a keen eye on ensuring that this country presents itself in the best possible circumstances. And her love for the protection of children, which she carried from her previous career, has also been a significant part of what she has shown as President of Barbados to be important to her. So without further ado, I do believe that an appropriate letter expressing the gratitude of the Parliament of Barbados for her service ought to go on behalf of this chamber from His Honor the Speaker, and I have every confidence that the other place will find it fit and proper to similarly act. I speak on behalf of the government as I rise, and I have every confidence that the Leader of the Opposition will so speak, and that once again, just as we came to this Parliament to say that we had a joint nomination for President, that we leave this Parliament today with a joint record, a record of our joint gratitude for the distinguished service that our President has rendered to the people and the nation of this country. We wish her a very, very long, healthy, and happy retirement. I know that she intends to learn to play the steel band, she has said, and one or two other things. And the fact that she can now apply herself to those things, having worked for, and I believe she told us Saturday night, for 50 years straight, that will hopefully give her joy and pleasure. And we too will continue to engage with her in her new role. I should say, as I did on Saturday night, that the government has agreed that the appropriate protocol for addressing her shall continue to be Madam President. The United States of America is known for many things, but this is one of the few things that I think that they have done particularly well. A person, even when they leave office, there is a level of respect that the average citizen would wish to accord to them. And therefore, we would wish, this being new ground, virgin territory, so to speak, that we would wish to formally establish a precedent that would allow her to continue to be addressed with the dignity with which she has been associated during her term of office. She served as Governor General first, and this government found it fit and proper to nominate her because we had the confidence that she could carry the spirit of the nation, and that, as I said on previous occasions, the presidency must be a place that all sides and all people in Barbados must be able to find comfort. And that is why I do not support an executive presidency. The island is too small, and I think that there should always be a place of comfort and safety for every Barbadian, and she provides that in her office, and I look forward to her successor doing so with equal acclaim. Thank you very much.
Leader of Opposition.
May it please Your Honor, I have no skill in gilding lilies, and I therefore wish to adopt the Honourable Prime Minister's several encomiums in relation to the distinguished and dignified service of Her Excellency, and I will join the Prime Minister in adopting all that she has said for this House. I'm obliged to you, sir.
Thank you. The question is, this House will now stand adjourned until the 2nd of December at 10 a.m. 2025. All those in favor, please say aye. All those against, please say no. I think the ayes have it. This House now stands adjourned until the 2nd of December, 10 a.m. 2025.